Alright everyone, and welcome back. I'm Christina, aka ThatVarietyNerd, and today we are back with more apartment renovations. That is correct. We're going back to the second of two apartment buildings here in Evergreen Harbor in the Sims 4 Eco Lifestyle Expansion Pack. So, first and foremost, we should get some more renovations up this weekend, so if you're into that sort of content, get excited. I'm excited to kind of go through this pack and renovate things a little bit more. I have been playing with this pack nonstop off screen, and I've just enjoyed the crap out of it just in general. So, on that note, get your snacks, get your choice of beverage, get comfy and cozy, and let us go into this. So, kind of like the last apartment video that I did just a few days ago, slash, yeah, it was a few days ago now. It probably was about a week ago, I would say, my last apartment video when I was renovating Evergreen Harbor. Well, we're going to have two apartments in one video. And so you'll get the screenshots and then we'll go on to the second apartment. Just because they kind of are well apartments and like to me, I want to make use of the time. So that way it's like, okay, well, I guess I learned not to do an 8-minute video and just do, an 18-minute video, a 19-minute video, basically. So that was kind of my logic right there when I was deciding, okay, well, should I do the same format? And I like the format that I went with. And also, apartments are pretty small, so usually once you get to the point where you speed things up, they're maybe 8 minutes, so it's like maybe 9 minutes apart, something like that. I did take before and after screenshots of the apartments from the top down view, that sort of thing. So I did that. So this one's a two bed, one bath, and the other one is two baths and two bedrooms. So each has two bedrooms. To me, it was just not a great use of the space of the layout, which I think was a big issue. But you can play around with the layout quite a bit, especially with the bedrooms. Well, at least you can play around with like the content itself. I think the layouts are at least marginally better. The second one was hard to figure out. This one, not so much. Like, I had an idea as to what I wanted to do with it, but as always, of course, have your move objects on, all that sort of stuff. I've been recently just learning some new stuff. Like, I finally learned how to use the Alt key while, like, moving things around. So that's why I feel like my renovations and builds in general have marginally improved. Just in general, we also play test this a little bit using, one of our OG characters on the channel, Christine Chappelle, who was our very first matriarch in our Sims 4 Moving On Up challenge, which I still can't believe made it to 79 parts. I feel like eventually we'll get to a Let's Play with Eco Lifestyle, but it's like I don't want to do like you know what I mean? It's like if I'm going to do it, I want to do it just to, showcase the pack a little bit, but I'm not sure how we would do that. So we'll kind of go from there. Just because there's only like two career paths, really. There's the civil design career, I think it is, where it's like you get to go into one of two paths. Like you can become a designer or a technician. So I've been playing around with that off screen a little bit. And also, like, one thing that I can really say about eco lifestyle, in a way, and I feel like I don't know if this is an opinion that others are going to share with me, but I really feel like this could be like, a potential, like, seasons almost, where it's like, okay, this was probably stuff that should have been in the game from the get-go, given that we're in, well, I mean, to be fair, like, I don't know how eco lifestyle was during the development of this game, which was the early 2010s. So I don't know about that, but I feel like if we get a Sims 5, then like this needs to be something that we need to think about from the get-go. So it's very much like a seasons also where it's like it impacts all of the gameplay and all of the neighborhoods. And it's really funny seeing the different neighborhoods and like all their different like neighborhood action plans. Oh my god, I was playing around with one of with my Sim self off screen and like her family and stuff. And so one of the first things that happened, I'm not even joking, was we moved into the new neighborhood because I think we were in Glimmerbrook because we have a couple of spellcaster children. It's a whole thing. It's like, oh, okay, this dude just stole our entire dining room table and chairs and then just a random kitchen counter just because there was the sharing is caring one, which is great. I also have been playing more so with like the cheats on to disable the need decay thing. Just because it's like to me it's almost hindering my gameplay experience off screen. So it's like, can I just, max out my sim skills as much as possible? Like for Let's Plays and stuff like that, of course, we'll have those enabled. But for my off screen gameplay, I'm like, nope. we're putting on all the cheats. But yeah, I haven't even put in any mods or anything just yet, just because I'm sure they're all broken at this point. Because there have been three patches, two of which were, I think, emergency patches or emergency updates, like that sort of thing. But what I had in mind here for this build in particular, for this renovation, it's very much more like, both apartments really have this blue and green type of vibe to it, but this one's much more of like, arts and crafts kind of vibe because of the candle making station there. I try to include just in general like some skill building stuff per room and just wanting to utilize as much of the space as much as possible. And, because it's like for me, it's like I'm a firm believer that each room should have like a purpose, right? Even if it's like a mirror or if it's like the candle making station, like that sort of thing. I kind of envision like maybe like two college kids just going to art school or something, just kind of chilling in this apartment. I kind of get like college apartment vibes from this apartment, by the way. Like, the two apartments in this area. I think it's Grimm's Quarry. It's the one that is like super green at the start of the of your new games. So I think it's Grimm's Quarry that's there. But I try to do some more like just little things here and there that I like to switch things up now and then. So, for example, what I did was that I made, instead of a dining room table, I used the island pieces to kind of make a little bit of a breakfast bar type of thing, but I also add like an extra seat on the end. So I kind of found it out on accident actually. So that was kind of where that went. I literally just I kind of figured out how to do that. I also got the Moschino stuff pack, which I told myself I'd never buy, but like it was on sale. Like some of the stuff packs on Origin are about like 20% off right now, I think. Which I think I'm like, okay, well, I'll just get Moschino stuff pack because at least the build items are nice. And I really like the build items. So if you're a builder and want more build stuff and you need a stuff pack, not too bad. I'll fiddle around with the gameplay in my off screen time. That's just how I roll. But yeah, I play around with these things like way more than I should off screen, and I'm like, maybe I should like stream more. Like, I miss streaming, so I might do that tonight. We'll figure it out. It's fine. Right now, I'm just trying to get as much content together as much as possible just because like life is going crazy right now. We will check in on that at a later time. But life's getting crazy, people. Life is getting crazy. But like my own life. Well, I mean, to be fair, the world around us, it's there's so much going on, but like I also have been kind of quiet on social media, mainly because a lot's going on in my own life as well. But I also want to make sure that, oh my God, what is that bug outside? I have the windows wide open for once in my life right now. There is this really huge bug outside of my apartment window right now. Oh my God. I had this bee literally in here last weekend, I think it was. And like I swear to God, like I quarantined my bedroom and I slept on the couch and everything just to ensure that it died. And I'm like, I know that bees are good for us, but like I don't want to sleep and get stung in the middle of the night. Y'all feel me on that? Like I'm one of those paranoid people with bugs. So there you have it. But I really like how both of these apartments really turned out. They have like similar feels to them, but very different at the same time. So that's kind of what I was thinking there. You could also use this as like a kids, like, maybe like one or two kids or something like that. I feel like definitely maybe like a toddler or two potentially. You can really be flexible with the space. Especially because there's like so much space to it. The curtain situation is still making me mad right here, if you couldn't tell. So that was kind of where things were going. But I try to use stuff that I don't use like all the time. Like I try to include one or two of those items when I can. And so, like, for example, these curtains, I figured they were just nice. They fit the space pretty decently and they filled up everything pretty nice and neat. I added the little backsplash back here. I'm like trying to figure out which backsplash though to put in because on one hand I want to use this stuff, but then I'm like, I don't know. And so I end up going with whatever matches the bathroom, I think it was. So, yeah, that was kind of where this first one was going. And honestly, both of these are going to be really good. If I had to pick one to play in, I'd definitely play in this one. So of the two, I think this one's definitely my personal favorite. But as you can see, you can also include a lot of stuff on the walls. But yeah, I wanted it to focus more on skill building and all that stuff. I know I pushed the bed in the corner and yada yada yada. It's fine. I really just I enjoyed this pack. I really do. At first, I remember we were all just like so angry that this pack even existed because it was like we need farming and I'm here for farming. But I think because farming is much more nichier, even though rural lands make up 70% of the US. Yeah, it's a little bit more nichier in terms of the gameplay, and I think there's a lot of gameplay that you need to focus in on. So there we go. We got the first round of screenshots, and you'll see the before and after. It is a night and day difference if I've ever seen one. There's a lot of arts and crafts stuff, so you can tell that people are very crafty here, maybe a maker, that sort of stuff. So, yeah, lots of potential, room for expansion and growth. The little green thing is just a plant in the corner, but this space I can really see myself playing in and just like sinking my teeth into. A little bit more than the other one, but I like how, see, there's the before, and then there is the after. A lot more just opened up, and just I really like how it turned out. And so this is apartment number two. Well, technically it's like number four when you label it, but here we are. But no, this was just dark. I don't know. It had like too many doors and just, again, the same situation here. I like big bedrooms in general in my Sims games, but like you have these apartments that have plenty of room to have two bedrooms. At first, I was going to have like a corner bedroom, like right back there. I was trying to figure out the layout was probably the hardest part to figure out for this one. This one took me significantly like lesser time just because I wanted to have some of the furniture because I liked the furniture that they used in this particular apartment from the start. But what I end up doing is you can kind of see here a little bit. I'm like trying to play around with the layout, but I want it to like make a little bit of sense. I end up going with a different archway, I think, later on. I could be super wrong. But essentially, it's a two bed, two bath. If you're hearing that in the background, that is just my air conditioning. It is like, it's been fluctuating between 80 and 90 degrees like all week so far with some storms here in Kentucky, so kind of bear with it a little bit. But yeah, so I really like how this turned out just in general. This apartment was interesting because I made this really weird L-shaped hallway. And so what I end up doing is that I end up expanding everything. There's two smaller bathrooms as opposed to a 3x3, so you get two 2x6s. So the bathrooms are a little bit smaller in this one, and the bedrooms can be debated upon if they're smaller or not. Definitely, they're both about the same size, I would argue. Maybe one of them's a little bit bigger, but by like marginally. But I really like how it turned out. I like the shape and the feel of it. Again, I wanted to use some items in the hallway just to do something a little bit different. And so what we do here is that we just add those in the hallway areas. That way we kind of fill out the space a little bit. Make it look a little bit more lived in. I think we sell some of the stuff too, but I kept some of the decorative objects just so that way we can kind of fill out the space. I really love the blue couch and stuff like that. So it's similar but different, and I really liked that quite a bit. And so that's pretty much what I was doing. I kind of envisioned just like two college students or something just kind of hanging out in this kind of a space. You have plenty of room for studying. There's also some room if you want to add like extra stuff in there. Oh, yeah, I also go into debug in this one. So if you have not gone into debug after getting eco lifestyle, I strongly suggest doing so. I strongly suggest doing so. There's a crap ton of debug items in there. So it's like I really appreciate how they included debug items mainly for the purpose of me just, you know, being able to renovate whenever I can. So I kept in that table. No, I actually get another table in there. You'll see I had a hard time in this front end. The other stuff I was okay with, but this front end I was having such a hard time matching the wood tones if you can kind of take a look at it. So that was kind of the goal here, was to try to match things up a little bit. So in the other apartment we have a green and white sort of situation here. This one's kind of like blues and yellows and whites. Just something that's similar but different. And so that was kind of the look and feel I was going with for this particular renovation. So I really liked it, and I think it turned out pretty decent. Like I think, like, of course we can always think like, oh yeah, we'll do things differently, we'll do things differently. I think if you're looking for like practical gameplay, like maybe something for again a college student, or some siblings, or maybe a small family, you can easily use this one, and there's still plenty of room for like skill building stuff. As you can kind of see here, I'm like trying to just navigate through this in general, just trying to figure out what to do. You can get a card table in there, some books, that sort of thing. And like the pack, Eco Lifestyle, as you can kind of see, it meshes really well with the base game. So again, with these renovations, the apartment ones are a little bit trickier to get on the gallery. I'm going to do my best to get them on the gallery, but I wanted to play test this table just in case. But I end up going with a very different table once we go into debug, and you'll see it in just a second. So you go with bb dot show hidden objects, and then you just type in debug into the search, press enter, that sort of thing. So in case if you're wondering how do you do this, that's what you do. And so I was really trying to figure out what to do with all these different appliances. What do I do with the counters? What am I doing here? And so I ended up going with this blue color, and we make it work. That's where we were at. We make it work. I flipped some other things around too, I think. I could be super duper wrong. But in general, I really enjoy renovating apartments. I need to do some more apartment renovations. And yes, a year later, almost a year later, I'm still working on the save file. That link is in the description down below. It's mainly me just renovating stuff all the time. I have like one master save file it's gonna get done at some point. But thankfully, because of these new community spaces that they introduced in Eco Lifestyle, maybe, just maybe that'll have like community lots being a little bit easier to kind of navigate. Okay, I just heard something really weird in my headset. Like, is there the secret FBI agent in there or something? But no, so as you can kind of see, that table, you have to go dumpster diving for it in Eco Lifestyle. And so what I did was that I went to debug and got the refurbished table there. So yeah, as you can see, the furniture is very similar, if not almost identical in each room. Yet kind of the same situation. I went for like greens and whites and blues. Something that's very much more calming. The bathroom's even blue with just, yeah, the bathroom's blue. I wanted everything to kind of match up a little bit more. You can have a double vanity in one of the bathrooms if that's the situation you want, in both the bathrooms if that's what you want to do. And so here I'm like just trying to figure out what to do next. I had a little bit of money. I didn't want to go totally overboard, but I wanted it to be like a decent little apartment. You know what I mean? So I kind of, once again, I envisioned like maybe a couple of college students living here, maybe a small family, or even like maybe like, the parents with their adult kid, whatever your play style is. I kind of, again, like my primary vision was like maybe some college students live here and they just need somewhere to stay and they need a little bit of privacy, that sort of thing. Because communal living is not for everyone. It certainly was not for me, but I know it works for other people. So for me, I like my space. I'm an introvert. I get exhausted. That's just where we're at. But yeah, so I really like how both these apartments really turned out. I wanted it to keep the feel of at least one of these apartments somewhat similar to what we had earlier. I think like the drink thing came in backyard stuff. So if you don't have backyard stuff, I think that's the only thing that I add extra. So it's like decorative stuff. But you can actually just go in and click. And then as you can see here, I forgot to paint those two walls. But here we go. We are into the screenshots. And so there's a few more extra screenshots here than like in the other one, but that's because I wanted to get just different angles and stuff like that. But on that happy note, thank you all super duper much for all the love and support. All the links in the description go to the save file progress where you can yell at me like, hey Christina, why aren't you done with Willow Creek? It's going to take me some time to get through Willow Creek. And just hold my butt accountable to get the save file eventually done. It's going to take time, especially just with everything going on in my life right now. So on that happy note, thank you all so much for tuning in. Leave a like, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button. That is the before, and coming up is the after image right there. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye, everyone.